Hi, I'm Ashley Billington, and you're watching The Warmup, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents in Cypress, Spring, Pearland, and East Houston. Last week, we had some great games in the Houston area, like that Spring and Westfield game with the last-second Hail Mary pass to give Spring the win. There's going to be just as much action on this week's Chevy's Inside High School Sports, and we have some big-time matchups coming at you. We have a matchup in Humble ISD as 21-6A kicks off with Humble versus number 16 Atascocita. Atascocita comes into this game only playing one non-district game. It was a 52-27 loss on the road to Allen. The Eagles' last non-district game against Klein Oak was canceled due to positive coronavirus test. They scrimmaged the Woodlands and changed their non-district game versus Klein Collins to a scrimmage. Humble comes into district with a 3-1 record after wins over Channelview, Cy Springs, and Lamar Consolidated. The Wildcats had a comeback season last year under Charles West, who made the playoffs for the first time at Humble. They are out to prove that last year was not a fluke and are looking to make noise in district. Bridgeland is taking on Cy Ranch in District 16-6A. The Bears are 4-0 on the season and 2-0 in district. Connor Wegman has been the fire in the engine for Bridgeland as he averages 399 yards per game. The Bears have been dominant in all of their matchups so far this season and even pulled out a win against 5A Division I state champions Shadow Creek. Cy Ranch is 2-1 for the 2020 season. They pulled a huge win against Cy Lakes in their first district game, 56-0. The Mustangs scored 35 points in the first half and their defense was dominant all night long. They will need to carry that momentum if they want to edge out a win against Bridgeland. Klein Cain and Tomball Memorial also go head-to-head on Friday night. Klein Cain took their district by storm last season, taking a playoff spot in their second varsity season. That success has catapulted into 2020 as they are 2-1 for the season with wins against Cy Creek and Klein. In their win against Klein, running back Jaden Blue had a night as he rushed for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tomball Memorial is 4-0 for 2020 and had a huge win against crosstown rival Tomball last week. The Wildcats are predicted to win this one, but will have a big task ahead of them. Quarterback Colton Marwell is averaging over 300 yards per game, and with running back Richard Rodriguez, the Tomball Memorial offense is hard to stop. Our game of the week is Katy Tompkins versus Katy Taylor. Tompkins had to postpone their game against Katy last week and moved it to Thanksgiving weekend. But the Falcons are still at the top of their game. In their first 2 games of the season, Tompkins struggled to get going, but in week 3, they looked like one of the best in the state, beating Cinco Ranch 55-0. The Taylor Mustangs have been nearly unstoppable in 2020, picking up right where they left off at the end of their 2019 campaign. Quarterback Jay Jensen III has been the leader of the Taylor offense and is averaging 209 yards per game. He and the Mustangs will have a big game against the Falcons this Friday night. We have some big-time games coming at you this week, and you'll be able to catch all of the highlights on this week's episode of Chevy's Inside High School Sports. Also, make sure you vote on our Hot Play of the Week poll presented by Louisiana Hot Sauce for a chance for your community to move on to compete in the Play of the Year. Here's last week's winner. Also on Chevy's Inside High School Sports, we have their Chevy Spotlight on Tomball Memorial. The Wildcats have their first ever female kicker.
Well, my friends on the football team, I have some of them, and they were like, well, we'll vouch for you. Like, you're good. We know you have the range. I've seen you kick a couple footballs. Whenever I first got here, some of the guys were like, I don't know. And then I kicked a couple balls, and they were like, yeah, she's good. Let's go. They've been great towards me. They've always been super kind. I love how they brought me in as a teammate straight away. Like, once I had my first kick, they were all super encouraging to me and still have been to this day.
Gonna be a great story on Lorelei. Last week on Chevy's Inside High School Sports, we gave our Grimaldi's MVP bobblehead to Katy Taylor's Bryce Foster. Here in the warm-up, we give recognition to players and teams outside of the sports that we typically cover on Inside High School Sports. This week, we're talking Fulshear Volleyball. Fulshear Volleyball came into the 2020 season ranked number 2 in the state for Class 5A after moving up a classification. The Chargers won the 2019 4A state championship with a 45-4 overall record and going 12-0 in district play. They shocked the state, winning a title in just their 3rd year of the school's existence. The Chargers dominated with some elite talent and leadership under the direction of Coach Sidney Gotcher. They returned district MVP Ellie Etcher, LSU commit, and offensive MVP Alexa DaCosta, a Baylor commit, as well as Ava Underwood, a Texas A&M commit. All 3 were state selections in 2019.
We just have really, really good kids at Fulshear. You're right. When we started, that wasn't even in the picture. We talked about building a successful program and getting the kids that know how to be disciplined and work hard and winning games along the way. But when you think about building a program, it's not really something you think about, okay, in a few years, let's make sure we're at the state tournament. It was a cool deal because when we got to the state tournament, there's so many people that are saying, Fulshear, never heard of it. Where's Fulshear? They've never heard of us. We're just the underdog all year because we're a new school. So that just made it extra sweet, I think.
Be on the lookout for these Chargers taking charge in the 2020 season. Now it's time for y'all's favorite part of the warm-up, the extra point. Former Katy Tiger quarterback and TCU star has taken over the starting role for the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, Andy Dalton is now the starting quarterback for America's team. After Dak Prescott's unfortunate injury, Dalton stepped in to help lead the Cowboys to a victory over the Giants.
One of these guys is going to come down. Going deep for Gallup. Oh, and he holds it in! That could be what turns out as the game-winning catch to set up a field goal. That right?
One of my biggest fears is getting run over on the sidelines of a high school football game. Well, this poor guy got it pretty bad, but you'll get a good laugh. That's all we have for this episode. Follow all of Inside High School Sports social accounts to stay up to date on everything going on in the high school sports scene. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube that throughout the week will get you ready for the main event, Chevy's Inside High School Sports on KHU 11 at 11 p.m., hosted by Matt Musil. Thanks for watching this week's episode of The Warmup, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents in Cypress, Spring, Pearland, and East Houston. To get more information or quote, go to geico.com/Houston. I'm Ashley Bullington, and I hope you're as ready as I am for all of the gridiron action.